What is up, guys? James here from the Light of Raga YouTube channel, and in this video we're going to be doing a reading for all my Scorpio Sun sign friends. If you were born between the dates of October 23rd and November 21st, then you are a Scorpio Sun sign, and this video is for you. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit differently. I've got 3 different oracle decks that we're going to be using for this reading, and I like to call this the Healing the Shadow reading. We all have a shadow side, a dark side, the aspect of ourselves that is sometimes hidden, that's holding us back from expansion, and we need to heal it as much as we possibly can so that it doesn't play such a large role in our life, and that's what this reading is designed to help us to do. One thing I want to say before I get any further into this is that this is a general reading. Not everything is meant to apply to every Scorpio, so take what works for you, leave the rest, but I think most of you pretty much know whether or not this resonates with you early on, depending on how well you know your shadow. Okay, so let's get into it. We're going to be using the Mortimer Column, the Keepers of the Light Oracle, and the Crystal reading cards for this reading. So the first card we're going to look at is this one, and it represents where your shadow lies. And we've got Force and the Ram. Give me a moment with this. Yeah. Alright, Scorpio friends, I think for a lot of you, or for a lot of us, I'm a Scorpio as well, sun sign, I think a lot of us, there's something deep within us that, I only say this because I'm a Scorpio too. Usually I prance around these issues, but I think there's a thing inside of us that knows that we're better than most people, okay? That knows that we're more powerful than most people, maybe more intelligent, maybe more wise than most people. Well, I shouldn't say knows, things, okay? Let's say things. And there's this kind of this, the shadow is kind of like feeding this to us, and as a result, you know, that could skew how we look at the world. And we say, well, I'm better than that person, right? Or I can exert my dominance on this person, right? And it can lead to control. When we feel like we're better than others, we want to control other people, and with force, through force. And I think it's not through like, you know, subtle ways. It's like forcefully. We wish to control other people. And that's our shadow. And if that feels uncomfortable, then good. That means we're onto something. Okay? If you feel uncomfortable listening to this, that means we probably struck a nerve. But yeah, that thing within you that says, you know, I'm smarter, I'm better, I'm whatever, you know, and it leads to trying to exert domination over people. That's the shadow. And one thing I should say about the shadow is that we all have shadow in our lives to differing degrees. Some people are aware of their shadow and they can do as much as they can to minimize its influence on their life. Other people are just completely led around by their shadow. The shadow's running things, and we all fall somewhere in between those two extremes. So figure out how much of a role your shadow is playing into your life, especially at the subconscious level that you're not even aware of, and I think that's the first step towards healing it. Alright, let's move on over to this card. This card represents how you can heal your shadow. You know, what entity is willing to work with us to heal our shadows. And we got Serapis Bay, Ascension. Move into your true self, rise above the darkness, the light is here. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. The need to control other people by force, the idea that you're better than another person in some way, is a very low negative vibration. It's kind of the lowest of the negative vibrations, right? And you know, that's why we have so much war, and this planet's under control by negative forces. So I think in order to counteract that, what is needed is ascension, is to raise your vibration, is to make a conscious decision to move away from lower vibrational energies. I think that's what ascension is. It's the conscious decision to move towards the light and away from the darkness. And now that we can recognize the darkness within ourselves, now we know what we're moving away from. So many people think that this is just part of who they are. It's part of our society. It's just the way it is. But it's only the way it is because we've chosen to stay there. If you choose to ascend, if you choose to move into your true self and move towards the light, then the darkness doesn't have much control over you. The darkness can only control you if you allow it to, if you accept it as what is. But I think ascension is saying, I accept the light rather than the darkness. And so it might seem a little woo-woo to say, oh yeah, you just gotta, ascend in order to remove your shadow. But I don't think it could be any simpler. I think it's just making that conscious decision to move towards light and away from darkness. I think it's as simple as that. It's as simple as saying, you know what, that is a negative energy. I'm going to just let that be. I'm not going to try to change it. I'm not going to try to control it through force, because then that's the shadow again showing up. I'm just going to let it be. I'm going to accept it for what it is. It is what it is. But I'm choosing to move towards that thing over there, which is positivity, which is light. And you're not going to destroy the darkness. You're not going to change the darkness, but you can make that decision that it's not for you, that you don't want it, right? And if you can do that day in and day out, little by little, you'll be moving away from it. And you'll get to the point where it has no control over you. I mean, I'm not there yet. No one's really there yet unless they've ascended, unless they're an ascended master. I think we all have some darkness pulling at us, obviously, or else we wouldn't be here on Earth still learning. But I think that's kind of the thing we're doing here is learning to move away from darkness. And if you can learn to do that yourself, I think you're going to minimize the role of your shadow in your life. Okay, let's move on to this card, which represents which crystal or healing energy you should focus on to help you to heal your shadow. Oh, look at that. I just got rose quartz for the Libra signs as well. Scorpios, it's rose quartz time. This is very interesting because during this last new moon, I asked which crystal I should focus on. And again, I'm a Scorpio, and it told me rose quartz. I think right now it's a time to move towards love. I was talking about moving away from darkness and moving towards light. Well, when you move towards light, you're moving towards love. And rose quartz is just a crystal that just emanates the vibration of love, of innocence, and the inner child, but also of just accepting things for what they are and loving everything for what it is. And that's kind of a crystal that's going to, that's definitely a crystal that's going to help you to do that. It's going to help you to ascend. It's going to help you to recognize love in things. When you can better recognize the love, you can better move towards it. And I think that's what rose quartz really helps us to do. It helps us to recognize the love within ourselves, the love all around us, and it helps us to appreciate that love and make us realize that that's what we want. For most of us, unless you're a negative dark being, then of course you want the darkness. But I don't think most of you are, if you're listening to this. Okay, I think most of you are beings of light, and you want to move towards the light. And rose quartz can help you to do that. Okay, so now that we've seen all these cards as a whole, Scorpio friends, I see some definite control issues. I see maybe putting yourself on a little bit of a pedestal. Of course, that's a lot of ego. That's a lot of negative vibrations, and our shadow is just showing itself in that way, in that desire to maybe impart our beliefs, our thoughts, our knowledge onto other people, rather than accepting that they're at where they're at and we're at where we're at, and they're different places. We want to control others is kind of the feeling that I'm getting. But to move away from that, you need to ascend. You have to make a conscious decision to step into your true self, rise above the darkness, and go towards the light. And Serapis Bey is here to help us with that. If you feel compelled to work with him, then do so. But if you're into crystals, rose quartz is going to be one to help you to open up that heart chakra, help you to recognize love when it's around you, and help you to just raise your vibration in a positive way, so that you're more accepting of the light and you're more willing to move away from the darkness. Okay, so that's the reading for my Scorpio friends. I hope you guys got something out of that reading. Remember, this was a general reading. Not everything applies. If you want a specific reading where I tap into your specific energies, you can head on over to lightofriga.com. The link is in the description box below. And if you want this particular reading, it's falls under the 3-card reading category. So I think it's as low as $10, I believe. I forget, but I think that's what it is. And yeah, so Be sure to do all the YouTube stuff, the liking, the sharing, subscribing, the commenting. I really do appreciate all your interaction on this channel. It really helps spread the word of this channel, which in turn spreads the healing around to more people on this planet, which is a great thing. So I appreciate you doing that. So thank you for all your interactions. And I think that's all I have to say. So I want to wish you love and light, Scorpio friends. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this. Happy taroting. Peace.